boys and girls, it's me, Mrs. Jenkins. It's time for our math lesson today. We are learning all about counting numbers from 10 to 20, which are the teenage numbers. So today I'm going to teach you a couple of things. First of all, you're going to learn about counting on. Counting on is another counting strategy. It's a new one. We haven't learned it yet. The other thing that we're going to do is to learn about how teen numbers are made out of 10 and a few more. So if you just finished watching those YouTube videos, you got a chance to sing and learn a little bit already. So right now, let's switch over to our workspace and I'll tell you the things that you need for this lesson. So you are going to need some things that are called base 10 blocks. This is something new we've never worked with before. And unfortunately, our base 10 blocks are at school. So we are going to have to make our own base 10 blocks. So one way you can make base 10 blocks is with this printout. I am going to attach this into the Google Classroom. So if your mom or dad has a printer at home, they could print this out. That's what I did. And then you just cut them this way. You cut the 10 together, and then you cut the ones out like this. That's one way you could make base 10 blocks. Another way to make base 10 blocks is to use some online. So I'm at coolmath4kids.com. And I've got this board here that's got base 10 blocks for me to work with. I will put this link in the Google Classroom in the assignment. So you can use this if you choose. One other way you can make your own base 10 blocks is by using Legos. So if you have a set of Legos, pick out the little cube-shaped ones, the one with the 4 dots, the little square ones. Pick out a bunch of those and put them to the side. Maybe put them in a cup or a baggie, because those would make a perfect base 10 blocks. You would just need to stack 10 of them together for your 10, and then have a bunch of just little loose ones for your ones. You're also going to need your number cards that we made last week. If you didn't make any number cards last week, you will need to go back and watch that video so that you can learn how to make your own number cards. Or you might just have number flashcards sitting around the house. Okay, let's talk about those teenage numbers. So we know that teenage numbers are basically a 10 with a few more. Let me introduce you to these base 10 blocks. So the reason why this is called base 10 is because the number 10 is really special. The number 10 is the base or the foundation for pretty much all math. So 10 is a super important number, and it's very important to learn how to work with tens. When we were back in the classroom, we used to count by tens and ones. Do you remember when we used to do the calendar? And we used to put up the little fishy for each day? We would count them by tens and by ones. So this is a very important concept for you to learn. So I want you to pay close attention. So this block is called a tens block. Can you guess why it's called a tens block? You're so smart. Of course. It's called a tens block because it has 10 little squares on it. Kind of like the tens frame has 10 boxes on that too. This is the same thing, it's just long. But you know what? Let's count just to be sure. It never hurts to be sure. We're gonna make sure there's really 10 here. Ready? Count with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So when you're working with base 10 blocks, this long one always has 10 every single time. I could turn it this way and it's still 10. I could turn it this way and it's still 10. I could flap it all around. It's still 10. You need to remember that. When you see this block, it's always 10. Okay, that's a 10. There's 10 boxes. And then these little ones are exactly what I said. They're called ones. So this is one. This is one. And here's another one. These individuals are called ones. 10 ones. Numbers are made up of tens and ones. So now let's review. I'm going to hold this up. Here's a base 10 block. What's the name of this one? Yes, this is a 10 because there's 10 boxes on it. Okay, I'm going to hold up one of these little guys. What's the name of this? Yes, it's called a 1. These are the ones. So if you think about it, this 10 is just like the Big Daddy fish in our calendar time, and he was worth 10. And this little one right here, it's just exactly like the little baby fish we used to put in for calendar time. Those were the ones. So now let's start working with this tens and this ones to make teenage numbers, and I'll show you how this works. So, I don't know, I'll just pick one of these. What number is this? Very good. That's a number 14. So just like the song said, 14 is a group of 10 and 4 extra ones. So I'm going to show you how that works. Move these over a little bit. I'll move everything. So if we want to build 14, this is what it's going to look like. You're going to need 10. Now remember, we're not going to count these again because we already know that it's 10. So there's 10. Now we've got to get some extras. Here comes another one. 10 and one more makes 11. Here comes another one. 12. And one more makes 13. And one more makes 14. So 14 is a group of 10 and then 4 extra ones. So 14 can look like this and 14 can look like that. Now let me get a little closer so I can talk to you about this. All right, so here's where our new counting strategy comes in. It's called counting on. Now we've learned a lot of counting strategies, but this one's a little different. For the counting on strategy, you're going to start with a number that's not 1, and you're going to start counting on from there. So I'll give you an example. Here is a tens block. We already know there are 10 boxes because we counted it. We don't want to count it again. So here's how we count on. You say 10. Here comes one more. 11, 12, 13, 14. That's how you count on. Let's do it again. Whoops. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. That's called the counting on strategy. Now, I must say, you could count by ones, like the old-fashioned way how we normally do it. You would still get to 14. What I mean is, you could still count like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Whew. But that took a long time. So when you start working with big numbers, like teenage numbers and bigger, you don't want to have to start all over every time. I want you to learn how to count on. Okay, let's do some counting on with a different teenage number. This time I'm going to pick a little bit of a bigger number. What number is this? Yes, it's 17. So think about the song. 17. It's a group of 10 and 7 extra ones. So let's see if we can build the number 17 with our tens blocks. Our base 10 blocks, I should say. That's what they're called. Okay, we got 17. Well, it's a group of 10, so we've got to get 10. Remember, this is 10. You don't have to count it again. That sounds like a rap. This is 10. You don't have to count it again. This is 10. You don't have to count it again. This is 10. You don't have to count it again. Hey, that was pretty cool. Maybe that'll help you remember to do the counting on strategy. Okay, 17, why don't you go up there? Because we're going to build the 17 right now. Okay, so 17 is a group of 10. I've got that. And we're going to need 7 more of these. So we're going to count this way. This is 10, so you have to say 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Let me check my work because I was bumping all around. I want to make sure I counted right. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. That's called the counting on strategy. Now you notice that I didn't count this one over again because this is 10. You don't have to count it again. That's the counting on strategy. So any of these numbers that we made last week, you can build all of these numbers using these same base 10 blocks and using the counting on strategy. Okay, that's a new strategy, and I've got to tell you, boys and girls, that's a bit of a tricky strategy. You're going to need to practice. So I'm going to give you lots of opportunities to practice this counting on strategies while we're learning about teenage numbers for this unit. Okay, so let me put away my numbers. Let me put away my base 10 blocks. All right, boys and girls, I love the way you were focused and you came to class prepared. So now it's going to be practice time, and you have an assignment that you're going to have to do in the Google Classroom. But before you go there, I want you to take some time with your base 10 blocks, whichever ones you choose to use, and your number cards. And I want you to do the same thing that I just showed you. I want you to pull out a number card, build the number with your base 10 blocks, and then I want you to count them using the counting on strategy. I want you to do that with all the numbers because that's your practice on your own, how you're going to learn it. When you finish doing that, then I want you're going to go back to the Google Classroom and find your assignment, because that assignment is going to show me if you learned the lesson. So don't be so fast to go over and do the worksheet and get it done. I want you to practice first. Like I said, the counting on strategy, it's really a first grade strategy. You've got to practice. and you really should practice every day if you really want to learn it. All right, so I'll see you on the next slide.